Hello everyone. So today we are going to do Leetcode weekly contest. First question: minimum marks of winning to win a competition. So basically in this question, it was not somehow the straightforward one, somehow sort of tricky. That means the way it has been written directly means directly someone can't infer it. If someone infers it directly also, still it's all right, means it's good to go. But still it was not a direct question the way it is written. Means as always the easy questions are like that, they are directly written and they are directly to be done. But this was not directly as it is. So let us read this question and then I'll explain you with the first example itself, and then we will go ahead with the code. So here comes the part that, let me use this. Okay. You are entering a competition and are given two positive integers, initial energy and initial experience, and these are for ourselves. And then there is also one more thing is that you are also given two index integer array, energy and experience, both of length n. So here this energy and experience, both of length n, this is for the opponents, and we are basically involved in a competition where our initial energy and our initial experience would be given, and two arrays would be given where opponent's initial energy and initial experience would be given. So basically the thing which is required here is that we require training beforehand so that we can win over all the opponents which are there. And winning is only possible if our initial energy is basically greater than the opponent's energy and initial experience is also greater than the opponent's experience. But the thing is, and this particular thing comes into role only when we reach at a particular opponent. Then when we try to defeat that particular person, if our initial energy is basically greater than that person, then our energy would be decreased. But then comes the side by side our experience will increase, because now we gain experience by defeating that person. And then when we come to next opponent, at that moment of point our initial energy should be greater than the energy and experience of that second opponent. So this is how we would be going ahead. So in all these contexts, so that we could even defeat the last opponent also, so in that context we require minimum training at the starting of the first opponent defeat only, so that we could defeat all of the opponents. So this is the question asking for us, that we need to check that what is the minimum energy and minimum experience we require before starting the competition, and how we can get this answer. So the thing is that what we would be doing in this question is, we will be directly checking that if the opponent's energy is basically greater than our initial energy, then we will be directly subtracting whatever amount is there, means how much it is greater, and adding up 1. And why we are adding up 1? Because it is also mentioned that it shouldn't be equal to, but it should be strictly greater. So because of that only we will add 1. And that thing which is there, which we just got now, that we will be adding to our answer. Means this much experience, this much energy we require to basically defeat this particular opponent. And that's the thing which we will be doing in this whole question. And that's how we will be solving this question. So let me explain you with one example. Means even this first example, then it would be much better, because to me also it was like, it took me a lot of time to understand this question. So here initial energy is 5, initial experience is 3, first opponent's energy is 1 and first opponent's experience is 2, right? So if we go ahead, now our initial energy is basically greater than this one, right? So it will get decreased. So now our initial energy will become 4, and experience is also greater, right? This is greater than this one, right? Okay, my cursor is not visible. No issues. So here our initial experience is basically 3, right? And the opponent's experience is 2, right? So now we will be decreasing and now it becomes 1. So our first opponent is completed, right? But the second opponent, here energy is equal to, and here experience is basically greater than, right? So that's why at this particular moment, because we require strictly greater, not even equal to, So that's why at this moment what we will be doing, here we are having this opponent's energy 4. So now we will be adding up the difference which we are having now, means our 4 and 4 which is there. 4 minus 4 plus 1, we will add to our answer. That is the thing which we will be doing. So we will basically get 1 to our initial energy, and this we are also increasing in our initial energy also, and the experience for this particular, that is also greater, right? So we will be subtracting 6 minus 1 plus 1, this 1 is from this one, right? And then now we would be getting our answer as 6, right? So that's the thing which we would be doing here, and this 6 would be basically added to our answer. That okay, that we will be doing here. Now next comes the part, here 1 is there, right? So now our initial energy at the starting would become 5 plus 1, it will be 6, and in this experience will at the starting become 3. One more thing was there. Okay, that's why I was thinking that I'm doing something wrong. So here the thing is that whenever we will be defeating, right? So at defeat, as we know that our energy would be basically experience would be basically increasing, right? So we got 2, so our experience will increase to 5, but here it was 6, right? So that's 5. Now when it is 5 and it is 6, so we can't proceed because our experience basically less than that particular, right? So that's why here what we will be doing, we're basically doing answer plus equals to 5 minus 6 plus 1. Basically this is minus and this is plus, and then we will be getting into our answer as 1. That would be a thing. So our initial experience we will be increasing to 4, and our initial energy we will be increasing to basically, because here we also got 1, right? So here it will be increasing to 6. That is the thing which would be done, so that we are easily able to defeat this particular. But now when we proceed with the next one, right? Even if at the starting it is 6, now we got this 3 and we got this 2 also, right? So that's why we will be again increasing our energy by decreasing with that particular, right? So in that manner only we would be moving ahead. Means again the same process would be followed. So at the end we would be able to get that we require basically 5 to be added, or not 5 but 6 to be added to this particular 5, so that we could get our energy that much that we are able to defeat all the opponents. And to this particular we will be adding up 2 at max, not at max, means in this example only we would be adding up 2, so that we get till end our maximum energy as 5 experience basically. Let me clearly explain more. Okay, so these are the first things, right? So 5 minus 1, it would be 4, right? So that's why, and now our energy would become 5 because of this 2, right? So these one are done. Now in answer we were not having anything because here things were already settled, but now here things got not settled. So that's why at this particular point we would be adding 1 to our answer, because we were having 4 and it is equal to that we require plus 1. So that's why at the starting it becomes as 6, right? Then again we encountered the 3. Now at this particular 3, till this particular moment we will be having just 1 with us, right? Because at the starting means when we make it as 6, right? So when we got 6 minus 1 equal to 5, then 5 minus 4 equals to 1, right? So now we are having just 1 as the energy. So that's why we will be decreasing 3 minus 1 equals to 2 plus 1, as we require strictly increasing, right? So that's why at this moment now we will be increasing our this particular to basically this is 7, 8, 9. So now it would be increased to 9, right? And then as now we encountered the 1, so 1 is again less than 2, right? So that's why now we will be decreasing 1 from it and adding 1 to the same, so that's why now it becomes 11. So that's why we are doing all this. Means increasing one and subtracting the how much greater that particular energy of opponent is. So that we are doing here. And for the experience, again the same criteria would be ongoing. So this is how this whole question is. So now let me show you the code for the same. Let me give you the code walkthrough for the same. So in this question, what we are doing is, see, we are just traversing the energy size so that we could get for each opponent that how much energy is required for that particular opponent, so that we could basically defeat that opponent. That's the thing. So we will first check that if the energy of that opponent is basically greater than our initial energy, then in that context, we will be adding the subtraction of the energy of the opponent and our initial energy plus 1 to that particular R, because they require strictly greater, and then our initial energy would be again added up to the same, the way we were doing in the dry run part, that we were also adding up that much energy plus 1 to our initial energy also, so that we are able to defeat that particular opponent. And in this particular experience, the things are again the same, that here also we will be having the subtraction of the same, adding a 1 to the same, and that would be added to our R, and we are required to here increase the experience by that much amount. And then now comes the part that the usual thing, if our energy is basically greater than the opponent's energy, then in that scenario we will be directly subtracting our initial energy from that opponent's energy and increasing our experience, because at this particular moment when our energy is basically greater, so at that moment we are capable enough to defeat that particular opponent. So that's why we are doing this particular task. So, but this thing which I'm doing here, this is basically the same thing which I was explaining in the example, that side by side I am increasing what amount of energy I require to defeat that particular person, and side by side I'm decreasing the amount of energy which would be decreased after defeating that person. So that's the exact thing which I was doing in the example. So yeah, this was all for this. And the time complexity and the space complexity for the same is, time complexity is basically order of n, where n refers to the number of elements which are being there in our energy array and experience array, and both are having the same only. And the space complexity is basically, are we using any extra space? No, we are not using, we are just using variables, right? So the space complexity for the same is basically order of 1. So this was all for this particular question. If you like the explanation, please do like and share also this particular video. And if you don't like the explanation, then do suggest me that how I should improve in this video. And one more last thing, that most of the students ask me about a structured course. So for that particular thing, I would prefer Newton School for the same, because they are having this more structured course, one-on-one mentorship, and even all the doubt clearing sessions would be there in that particular course. Whose details you could find in the description below. And the thing is that the most interesting thing about this course is that they don't have any upfront fee, and that's the one of the things that after your placement only you are required to pay for the fee. So that's why it would be something like that you can independently take this course without any fee beforehand. So that's why I like this particular thing. And yeah, for more details you could directly head over to the description and get the details of the course. So this was all for this video. Thank you.